everybody. Welcome to Not the Academy. I'm James Edward Holly.
And I'm Ashley Stennett.
And tonight we thought we would talk a little bit about some projects we've already been involved in. Last time we were together, we told you that filmmaking and watching movies is kind of a passion for us, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, how old were you when you decided this is what you really wanted to do?
Probably 9 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about the same age.
I'd say probably 9 or 10, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see any way that we could possibly do it though, because we're shouldn't say broadcasting. We're streaming, or I don't even know. I'm old. I'm not sure what this is called, but we're recording this in Huntington, West Virginia, and this is where I was born and raised. The only time I've ever left is when I was in the military, and I was in the military for about 23 years. Retired, and I decided I was going to be in films, which the ironic part of that is the whole reason I enlisted at the time into the Navy was because I wanted to write movies and had never been out of Huntington or Barboursville, West Virginia. I had nothing to write about. And I'd never met anybody that wasn't just like me. And so I joined the Navy, and my idea was to meet people, experience things, and create characters. And I ended up liking it so well, I stayed for 23 years. So then when I retired and had the opportunity to do this, I jumped on it. And it just so happened that I met you about the same time.
Yeah. And for me, I've never really left the area. Of course, I live a little further east towards Charleston now, the state capital. But I did leave for just a little bit of time to work at Screen Gem Studios in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay.
Kind of cut my teeth working with like the big studio.
Right.
And this would have been about 2001. Back then it was Dawson's Creek. So
were you on Dawson's Creek?
I was.
Okay.
I got the opportunity to work on that show for a little while, and came back to finish my degree at Marshall, and was involved in some independent films like Burning Annie, which is the remake of the original. And so, just did some work like that, and then flash forward to 2005, and I helped write and then produce and star in an independent film that premiered here in Huntington at the Keith Albee. It was a huge premiere.
Your premiere was at the Keith Albee.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was a huge premiere. It was a really neat, low-budget independent film. Mm-hmm. But it took a while to make, and it was a big... We had a pretty decent-sized crew, and we had a ton of extras. The cool thing about it, it didn't cost a lot of money to make, but there was a lot of unique locations that we used in and around this area. Mm-hmm. And, it's hard to believe that's been 16 years ago. Had a wonderful premiere at the Keith Albee. And that was neat to see yourself on the big 200-foot screen.
Right.
And back at the upper level was open. I mean, it ran for like a week. It was neat.
That's really cool. I will never forget what it was like to see myself on an actual movie screen. I'd been doing plays and things like that in this area. There was at that time, a theater company called Arts. And it just so happened that a couple of independent filmmakers named Paul Moore and Todd Gilpin, Todd is also local, very good cinematographer, but they saw the play and they came to me and they said, we need somebody to play a priest in a film that's going to be going to the festivals and things like that. So I read for it and got the part, and we had our premiere at Pullman Square in Huntington. And that was a feeling you don't forget. Seeing that the first time, and also seeing your name on the screen the first time.
My son, I can tell my kids are going to be horror fans like their old man. He loves you in that. I've had to watch that movie.
And that movie is called...
On Tubi.
Yeah.
Paper Wasps.
Paper Wasps.
I've seen it about 8 times now. I might have your lines memorized. But no, you did a great job.
Well, thank you.
And you and I had met not... right around that time, because I didn't know you were doing that.
Right.
And you and I had met doing some theater stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then we are now into this.
So if you have Tubi, it's Paper Wasp, plural, WASPS, and it's a really good short film.
It really is.
And but from that, I actually got a job in Thailand doing a movie called The Cave Nang Nong, which it was a story about the soccer team that got trapped. It was a true story about the soccer team that got trapped in the cave in Thailand, in Chiang Rai. And as luck would have it, I just happened to fit the bill for what the director was looking for. He sent me some sides, and I read for it. And before I knew it, I was on a plane to Thailand. I'll never forget the feeling of landing in Bangkok and knowing that there was a translator waiting on me at the bottom of the ramp to drive me around Bangkok and get me to the set. I got off the plane, I got a little sick to my stomach, and I thought, I'm about to ruin this man's movie. I'm going to ruin this guy's movie. I don't know what I'm doing. And but I memorized my lines. I knew I was ready in my head, but I wasn't sold on myself as an actor at that point. Mm-hmm. But the movie actually did quite well. Played in close to 30 different countries. 5 or 6 million people have seen it. And at this time, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to take an opportunity and show you the trailer of The Cave.
Tracking that there's a soccer team stuck in a cave in northern Thailand. We've been notified by our CEO that we might be heading out, sir.
This is where the Wild Boars team enter the cave, and this is where we believe them to be there now. That if they're still alive.
Thai Navy SEAL diver has died trying to save 12 boys and a coach trapped in a cave system in Thailand.
What would you think if I go to Thailand?
Why would you go to Thailand?
Several civilian divers have been already called on to help with the rescue efforts being mounted by the Thai authorities.
Thais won't let anybody dive past Chamber 3, not after they lost one of their own.
Oh, I bet they approved this plan when the O2 drops below 13.
Each of the lead divers will take one buoy each and lead them from Chamber 9 to Chamber 3.
There's one way in, one way out.
You know, those must leak. Those boys will drown.
I am live outside the Tham Luang Cave complex in the northern Thai province of Chiang Rai, where signs are mounting that something may have already begun.
He doesn't want to take responsibility for your safety because of the water levels.
Don't worry about us. We can take care of ourselves.
We're going to dive them out.
They're coming.
Not a word about this to anyone.
All right, gentlemen, fish on.
And what are the odds?
Not all these boys might make it home.
All right, so that was my first feature film. And I'll never, ever be able to thank Tom Waller enough for letting me be a part of it. I got to meet some great people while I was there that I still am in contact with today. I've actually been back again, made another movie in Thailand a year later with a different director, and it's not out yet. But it was just an experience unlike any other, and it was awesome. And from that, I got to work on quite a bit of things with the Travel Channel. I did, you were joking last episode, I did Dead of Winter with Investigation Discovery. And my big claim to fame, I played a ghost in Ghost Adventures. So the Franklin Castle episode in Cleveland, Ohio, I play the guy that murdered his kids. Obviously on Ghost Adventures, you don't actually act. You just stand there and try to look creepy.
It's a cool reenactment, though.
Well, it's one of my favorite shows, and so I was like, cool, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But what's some other things that you've done?
Well, and you and I have had a chance to work on some really cool projects together.
Yeah.
You know, we've had not one but 2 short films air on Shorts TV.
Yes.
Big distribution deals through DirecTV and Dish, and then some other cable providers, satellite providers. The first one was Deadline, which came out in 2019, and had a lot of fun working on that.
Yes.
You directed that. Well, I think we both tackled the story.
Right.
And then flash forward a year later, of course, we were hampered in last year in 2020 with the COVID. Man. But we were able to, with a very tight cast, tight crew, film Before Daybreak, which is a late 80s period piece, if you will, but it's got a supernatural element.
Yeah, Before Daybreak, if you get a chance to see it, this is the poster. It's a really cool salute to the 80s crime.
Yeah.
But then we tie in my love for Zach and Aaron and the guys on Ghost Adventures with a little paranormal kick off to the side there. And it wasn't a bad movie. It's a good movie. It was beautifully shot by Sam Hodge.
Yeah.
And it had some issues, though. And I mean, one of the things you have to be able to do as a filmmaker is admit when things could have been better. Yeah. And I blame 100% of every problem we had on COVID. Yeah. We went from supposed to having 11, 12 people on tech to having 2. Poor Sam and his fiancée, Jonna, literally were a 2-person crew. They lugged every camera, every microphone, every light. They did all the editing. They did all the music because we weren't allowed to be around other people to get this stuff done. Yeah. And instead of being able to have a lot of actors in one place at one time to get the scenes done, we were having to film 2 or 3 actors at a time, make them leave the set, bring in another couple of actors, and do it that way. So it's not exactly the film that we had hoped it was, but it's a good movie.
And it was good enough to get a bigger distribution deal on Shorts TV, which I forgot to add, not only runs domestically in the U.S., but it has a European run and a South American run too.
Yeah, we got 9 countries, 3 years. I'm my own worst critic. I just know that anything we do after that, we learn so much that it's only going to get better.
What are we doing after that, by the way?
And that's why we're here tonight. We're actually getting ready to start a feature. We've not done a feature before locally. We're going to do a faith-based feature in Huntington, West Virginia, using Marshall students as our tech. And it's called The Good Fight. And I'm not in this one for very long. I just have a couple of lines. This is the star of The Good Fight, and it was your idea. You came to me with an idea for a movie.
I did. I came to you with a skeleton, and then you just put all the muscle and meat on it. On the bones.
He gave me an outline. I gave him a script, but it worked out really well. It's a beautiful story. It avoids all the, and I'm not putting anything down here. I never put down other people's work, but there's a lot of cliches that go along with faith-based movies.
Yeah. And
we purposely zigged and zagged and made sure that we didn't touch on any of those cliches. And we're getting ready to start. It's a $30,000 effort on our part.
Which is not much when you're talking about making feature-length films.
No, it's not. That's actually very little, and it's because we can use very reasonable tech people from Marshall University. Caden Tooley, who did Deadline, is bringing his crew on. It's going to be great. But we've raised $5,000 so far. Mm-hmm. We need another $25,000.
Yep.
And so we're getting ready to launch. And you're on here. You're seeing it. It's Indiegogo. We'd like to raise another $25,000. Now we do have a few investors.
Yeah.
So hopefully it won't be the whole $25,000 coming from crowdfunding. But if you want to be part of something like that, if you're from the area and you like the fact that we're creating jobs, we're using Marshall students.
Yeah, it's job creation.
Family friendly
film. Great storyline. Lots of cool incentives that you'll see. If you donate, if you support the film financially, you'll get a chance to get a lot of really awesome incentives. I don't want to give it all away because they'll see it, but some of the incentives are really good.
Yes,
really, really, really cool. Can't stress that enough.
And I think one of the most important ones, both to anybody watching who wants to be a part of it and to us, is that anybody that gives over $20 can be an extra. We're going to need people the last 2 days of shooting to actually watch this guy box. And we're going to do everything locally. We'll let you know where, but anybody that is interested, they donate $20 or more on our Indiegogo, and you get to be in the audience and you get to see how we make the movie. So, anything you want to add?
I just like to say we do appreciate everybody's support. We obviously can't make this film without you.
Yep.
And as James was saying, it's about local job creation. Helping the local economy here. And James and I have, for a long time, have talked about wanting to really transform this area and turn it into a great little hub here in Central Appalachia for filmmakers and artists and actors and actresses. And
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. But hey, it's not about us, it's about you. And we're in it for everybody.
So thanks again for joining us for Not the Academy. Again, give $20, come see how the movie's made, and we will see you next time.